welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be testing out the new Jaclyn Cosmetics Complexion Collection. Super excited to try these out. So I got the Perfecting Concealer as well as the Skin Perfecting Blurring Tint. And I just wanted to see how they would wear and how they would look on my acne prone skin and if it'll really give that blurred effect. So if you guys are interested in seeing my review on the Jaclyn Cosmetics Complexion Collection, then just keep on watching. Just a little check-in. This is what your girl's skin looks like this week. Few breakouts. They are starting to kind of like heal up a little bit though. I love the packaging on all this. Like, this is very cute. So this is the Skin Perfecting Tint, and this is described as a comfy, real skin perfection in an airless pump. Light sheer coverage formula delivers a natural finish that blurs texture and enhances the look of your skin for that just woke up glow. Comes in 12 shades. And it has ingredients like beta-glucan to help improve skin tone, and it has sodium hyaluronate, so hyaluronic acid, to draw in that moisture. And you can also use this as just like a tinted moisturizer slash skin tint or a blurring primer. So that's exciting. So maybe better used as a primer. And the concealer right here, this is the Faux Filter Perfecting Concealer, and it's a concealer that visibly brightens and melts into the skin for flexibility and buildable coverage. Lightweight, buildable, medium to full coverage, matte finish, visibly brightens and blurs, and then this concealer comes in 35 shades. So I'm assuming the way she described it is because since this is so sheer and so light, you can kind of get away with more, I'm assuming, but still would have liked to see more shades in the Skin Blurring Tint. Just because I feel like Ilia has even more shades. I could be wrong. I've seen a lot of people apply it with a brush and also their hands. I think I'm gonna do like my hands on like one side, just depending on the texture. And then I think I'm also gonna do it with a beauty sponge. So this is just my little Juno & Co sponge, and that's how I apply things anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. And I did prime, whether that's needed or not, but I did use my one size primer. And I got the shade, yeah, light just seemed the best when I like looked online. I think it's described as like a yellow undertone. Yeah, light was described as light with natural yellow undertones. So I was debating between light and light medium. Light medium though is light medium with neutral pink undertones, and I'm not really a pink gal, so I wanted to go more yellow, but she's thick. And I'm gonna start on this side. It's got a little more to cover, and this is the side I'm gonna use with the sponge. So she is thick. Wow. It kind of feels like a gel consistency. And hopefully the sponge at least helps add a little bit more coverage. Again, I'm not expecting this to be like a full or medium coverage type of product. I'm really just expecting it kind of to be like a skin tint, like a really light skin tint that helps to kind of even out the skin tone and like blur a little bit, like she said. Something you just throw on quick if you're going to like the grocery store or something. But again, not expecting it to cover like all my acne or anything like that. I just want to see how it lays and kind of how even does it even out my skin tone. Does it do it with the dark spots? Who knows? So I feel like I do look a little bit more even. It's a little light for me, but I think I look a little more even compared to this side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my finger here. I'm actually gonna try and blend it out with my two fingers and just see, almost like a moisturizer. And I'll do some tests to see how it goes on bare skin. I'm also interested to see how it does right here above my mouth, because I've been really dry lately. I've been sick these past couple of weeks, so I've been like blowing my nose and like doing all the things, so I feel like I'm really dry and it is clinging. I'm gonna add a little more just because I feel like I didn't get my forehead at all or like my nose area, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit more. It's like a smidget. And I don't see too much of a difference applied with my finger. I'll keep it the same though, just for the sake of the video. I kind of prefer it with a sponge just because I'm someone where I don't prefer using my hands anyway. But it's not bad. Like if you're in a pinch and you're like doing it really quick, I'm just gonna clean it up a little with the sponge, to be honest, because again, it doesn't look streaky, but I just want it. Okay, so this is what my whole face looks like. Definitely feel like it's a little bit more even on this side. This side too, definitely evening out my skin tone. I do feel a little bit blurred. It is kind of more of like a gel formula, like a gel consistency, but it is clinging on to my dry patches quite a bit. Yeah, like you can see it, my forehead, my nose kind of area of my upper lip where it's really dry, it's really clinging. Yeah, just not as seamless as I thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna try and sponge it out a little bit. Yeah, I look really dry. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like how when I first wore the Rare Beauty one, but like right here, it's pretty dry. So I'm gonna ignore it for now. Maybe once it like kind of seeps into my skin, I should put on my Venti hydrating primer, but it's okay. I can see why this would be a primer. Maybe, I don't know, I don't really like tinted primers really, but I just don't know how this would wear well under like an actual foundation just because it's so thick. So I feel like it's a little heavy to be a primer, but that's just me. Let's go into the concealer and see. So I got the shade Ferris Light Peach. And I looked at like the shade finder that they had and kind of like suggested that they had on their website. And it said for the complexion BFF, so they kind of like had this on their website. I'll attach the picture here so you can kind of see it better. But for light, they suggested it for Fair Light Yellow or Fair Light Peach. I figured if I'm gonna be using this as more of kind of just like an everyday, like kind of throwing on my makeup, then I kind of want to also cover some dark circles. Not that I have a lot. So I went for the Fair Light Peach, and it doesn't look that peachy. When I swatched it, it looks kind of yellow, if I'm being honest. So that's what made me kind of feel better about it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this under my eyeballs. And since I got such a light shade for the concealer, I'm not gonna be using it to cover my acne, just because I wouldn't really use this concealer for that anyway. I am probably gonna use and cover some of my dark spots with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, because that's what I would do. And I haven't watched like any reviews on this at all. Like I've just seen like little Instagram videos of them putting it on and it looks really nice. The skin tint and the concealer, so we'll see. Definitely on the medium coverage side of things. I feel like this concealer dries so fast. Like be careful because it won't move. Like it already kind of took off some of my foundation. Right here, if you can see it, kind of took it off. Not as much coverage definitely as like my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face. I'm gonna set with these, put on some of my NARS concealer and then set with my Rare Beauty powder, and I will be right back. Your girl looks dry. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see. Yeah, so I just feel like I look really dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and set with my Desi Do Me Over, and hopefully this just fixes everything. That Desi mist didn't do a whole lot for me. Like I still look very, very dry. Yeah, like especially like, can you see my nose? Especially like my nose, forehead for show. Let's go on with the rest of the night and then I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been like 5 hours since I've had this on, and I think I look really oily a little bit. I haven't blotted or anything, but I think I still look really dry. I mean, it looks a lot better than when I first applied the skin tint, but it's really dry. Like you could see like my little dry patches on my forehead. My nose doesn't look that great. Right here is like very dry. It's like sticking to these dry patches. I can't tell if it's just like the concealer's not laying well on top of the skin tint or just a mix. I mean, my under eyes look fine concealer wise, but the concealer on my nose just was not working very well. Again, it could be just combining with the skin tint. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I mean, I feel like I look really blurred, which is nice, but it just, I really don't like how it's clinging to the dry patches at all. Alrighty, so this is day 2. Actually, this is day 3. Right now, I'm just wearing the blurring skin tint. It is wearing pretty much the same and did hold up really well. I am not wearing it with the concealer. So far, I like it much better separated. Without the concealer, I'm definitely not as dry as I was on that first day. Here, it's a little dry, but it's like nothing how it was
the first time. And also I just feel like in general my skin is a lot more moisturized. Like here my upper lip was super dry before that, but now it's actually not dry at all, which is nice, or like barely dry. So it's just coming back and healing from being like really flaky and irritated. I will say though, it might be breaking me out, unfortunately. Like this was not there before. This is like new, and my chin's been there, so it's mostly like this side. So I am breaking out a little bit. I'm not sure yet if it's due to the skin tint just yet. I'll keep you guys updated. It could be because it's that time of month, so usually these things happen. That is kind of the biggest update so far. I like it much better today, but I don't know if I'm necessarily over the moon in love with it, but we'll keep on testing it and we'll see how the concealer's holding up. Okay, I'm about to wash off all my makeup. I just wanted to do a quick check-in. Right now, I'm just wearing the Jaclyn Cosmetics concealer, and this is what we're looking like. So I just have it under my eyes, on my nose, and on my forehead. I'm a little bit dry, but I feel like my skin is just a little bit dry in general, and I put it on top of the Tower 28 sunscreen, like tinted sunscreen. It works, but it does dry really, really fast, so you really do have to do it in parts. I think it looks bad at all, especially just kind of running errands and not wearing a lot of makeup. Like I'm literally just wearing base products and eyebrows. I went to yoga and stuff, so it held up really well. It's just obviously it doesn't provide a lot of coverage, but I'm gonna go ahead and take off my makeup for tonight, and then we will go ahead and check in tomorrow and try putting the products together again.
Alright guys, so it is time to wrap up my review on the Jaclyn Cosmetics Complexion Collection. The skin tint, like I had mentioned, it works a lot better now that my skin isn't super dry. When my skin was at the height of dryness earlier this week, it was just really flaky, really dry. It's really accentuated the dry spots, and it was just kind of really hard to blend as well. I don't know if it's because of the thick texture. I didn't see much of a difference, like how it went on better, like with the heat of my hand or anything. It went on pretty much the same. I do like a damp sponge best with this. I did try it with a brush and it just wasn't working as well, so I definitely prefer a damp beauty sponge. So I am wearing it today as well as along with the concealer, and it does look good. Like I do feel very blurred, but that could also be due to the powders and things. And it does wear well once it sinks into the skin, but if your skin is dry, it's just gonna cling weird and look weird. And even I thought, okay, it looks dry now, but maybe with my oil, since I am oily like throughout the day, it's gonna kind of help it sink into the skin a little bit better, and that kind of just didn't happen. It just looked a little flaky and patchy. It got better in some spots, but not completely as I was hoping it would, so that was unfortunate. So that was kind of my experience with the skin tint. Very thick. It doesn't feel heavy, even though it is a super thick texture. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It still feels super lightweight on the face. I don't feel like I'm like bogged down with makeup. It was not breaking me out. It ended up just being that it's the time of the month, but I've been wearing it these past couple of days and I have had nothing new surface, which is great. So A+ for that. Did not break out. And then finally going into the concealer, it's okay. It's a very medium coverage concealer. I think I just like full coverage better. I don't know. I feel like this is more of a light to medium coverage than more of a medium to full like it's described as. Let me tell you, this dries so fast, and it could be because it's a matter formula, but when you do this, you really gotta make sure you do like one section at a time. Like sometimes I like to do the middle of my face and then like both my eyes and let it sit for a sec. Do not do that. Work in sections because this dries way too fast and it gets really difficult to blend. I thought it was gonna be more similar to the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, but it did not end up being like that. I feel like the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, it just is a more hydrating concealer in general. And that's kind of what I expected this to be, especially if it's more of like a medium coverage and kind of looking for that light complexion look. So I think I prefer the Pretty Fresh concealer over the Jaclyn Cosmetics. I did end up making this work though. Like today I feel like it is a little bit more covered, and that's because underneath it, I ended up putting on the Fenty Beauty Bright Fix Eye Brightener. And so this is like their concealer, and this is in the shade Butter. I feel like it makes my eyes look a little bit more hydrated and adds a little bit more coverage and brightness, which I like. Overall, when it comes to the complexion collection in general, it's okay. I expected more, to be honest. I'm a little bit disappointed. I like them both better now that I kind of know how to work with them a little bit more. Like this is gonna be maybe better in summer for me when I'm not super, super dry, but definitely even just like a texture, even though it's like coverage, it's just not my favorite. I haven't used it as a primer yet, so maybe it'll be good as that. I'm gonna try it as a primer later. I'll leave it in the description below. Definitely don't think you need it, and I think you could save your money and skip out on this one if you've been looking at it. For the concealer, it's also just okay. I wasn't blown away by it. Maybe it could just be me and not being a super light to medium coverage person. If you are more of a light to medium coverage, definitely maybe check it out if that's kind of the kind of concealer and coverage you like. Also, just kind of like me even saying like, now that I know how to work with them, I feel like we shouldn't have to, unless we kind of want to. We shouldn't really have to a majority of the time like know how to work with them. Like for example, like I shouldn't have to use this concealer to make this work the way I want it to. You know what I mean? Like rather save your money. I was expecting a little more and was kind of disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Not blown away. Have you guys tried anything from the Jaclyn Cosmetics Complexion Collection? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let me also know some of your favorite skin tints. I would love to know that so I can try some of those out. I love trying skin tints out recently. Also, let me know if you want me to do my favorite skin tints video. I've been thinking of doing that, so if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in any of my other foundation complexion reviews, powders, foundations, what have you, you can go ahead and click this playlist here. And if you're more interested into more skincare content, then you can click over here, and I will see you in the next video.